Oh, I gotta add you as part of the thing. Go back to the home. There you go. There you go. That's it right there.
Oh, you already open for live?
Yep.
Really? I did not know that.
Oh, I've only been open for live, like, I don't know, 10 seconds. I just clicked it as you said you're going to share it.
We missed last week, right?
We did last week. We missed the week before. The one where you had the tooth and everything.
Mm-hmm. That was last week.
What? That's right. We missed the week of Mother's Day.
So we did one last week?
Yeah, we do one last week. Because remember we did God's boundaries for humans.
Mm-hmm. So it's hard to see.
Here, let me back up some.
I got one watcher. There we go.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Do You Really Know God? This episode, we're going to talk about pastors. Kind of roles of pastors, what to look for in a pastor.
Whether or not they should be held to a different standard.
Many different things about the pastor. Let me find my verse. Got a few distractions tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, but
We got Mr. Simba here.
we got Simba. New addition to Do You Really Know God right now? Tonight. He's our guest speaker. Where is this? Okay. What I'm going to read is James 3:1. Not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly.
Well, that answers my question.
I really like that verse because it's true. So true.
But I also think with that verse, I think that we all should be teachers anyway.
To a point, but here's the thing, is if you are a teacher of the Christ,
Yep.
and teacher of the Bible, you should and will be held to a higher standard of holiness.
Right. But what I'm saying is I think we should all be teachers of the Bible.
Well, everybody should be a teacher, or everybody should be a student, everybody should be a teacher, and everybody should spread the word. That's what it does say in the Bible, for the most part. But to be a pastor type teacher is what this is leading to, and you're going to lead a church in a whole commune of people. It's a little bit different than somebody going out there and teaching people one at a time about the Bible. You now have followers. You are now a teacher of the Bible with followers, kind of like Jesus. He had his followers.
Yeah.
So you're held to a different standard, and you should be.
Hey, Mom.
Held to a different standard. Some of the things that bring us up to this podcast is really look into who your preacher is for your church.
And sometimes it's hard because, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I obviously married the pastor of my church's granddaughter and daughter, but the other pastors there, I don't really know them in the outside world. And I know that's the case for a lot of people. Not too many people, like, it's cool if you go to a church event and you see them outside of that or something like that. But I'm talking, like, everyday life.
In your real life.
Yeah.
In your weekly paycheck life.
Or even just general friends group.
Yeah. Well, even general friends group, depending on what type of group, they're going to have a different mental,
Yeah.
I guess we'd say.
Yeah. Well, what they call it is wearing different hats.
Yeah.
You know? Like me, when I'm shooting a YouTube video for, like, the photo shoots or for, like, a music video or whatever, I'm sure you can notice my personality is totally different.
But there's a thing. When you're a preacher, though, and a pastor, you need to live your everyday life to the Bible.
Yeah.
As close as possible.
That's
I mean, you're still a human, so you're still going to make sin, you're still going to make mistakes, but you need to, certain things you need to uphold a stand. Perfect example is this week, we have a shop, and we deal with a lot of car dealerships.
And
well, one of the car dealerships we deal with, the owner of the car dealership, is also a pastor that owns his own church.
Yep.
Well, we knew this guy for a while now. And I actually knew him as a car dealer before I knew him as a pastor. Never been to his church or nothing. Never seen his teaching.
We just found out he is a pastor.
I don't know much about his pastor life.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say what I see how he works with his dealership life. He's not very Christian. He is very much into greed. He is very much into, I'm going to make the quickest buck possible, and I don't care who I hurt or take advantage of to do it.
I don't care how it affects other people as long as I get my money.
Yes.
Pretty much.
And this is what brought on this podcast a little bit, because as just the people, you know, he probably has followers that go to his church that don't know his real life.
Yeah, definitely.
Or his outside of church life.
Well,
and you should know that, because when picking a good pastor, anybody can get on stage and teach you the Bible. And anybody can get on stage and tell you, like, motivate you and get you going into the thing of Christ. But I myself, if you're not living by his word or trying to, at least the best to your ability as a human, your words and teaching of the Bible means nothing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I think that should be a big part of it. Oh, Christy, Simba says he'll see you later when he comes home tonight.
Don't do that. Then our comments just gonna be flooded with no.
Because it also talks in the Bible about integrity.
Yeah.
And integrity is what you do when nobody's looking.
Well, see, this is the thing that really upsets me most about it. But, so, we've had customers come from him who say he is the best man alive, he is a great person, very nice, very respectable, all this and that. Well, we've also had a few customers, and more recently one specific one, where he sold them a car that he knew had issues. And instead of trying to get the issue fixed for them, yeah, well, I mean, he did try to help her out, but in the very most minimal way possible. She bought the car, and he knew of the issue, and he told her of it. She said, I do not want to buy this car with this issue.
And he said he'd get it.
And he said, okay, well, I'll have my mechanic fix it, because he also owns his own shop. I'll have my mechanic fix it, and we'll take X amount off the price. She said, okay, that's fine. He's like, come back in a week, it'll be all set. She came back in a week, and it wasn't all set. And he claims that he fired the technician that could do it, but from my knowledge, he doesn't have a technician to that level at all. He's mainly oil change, tires, and this was exhaust work. And so he ended up buying her a part, saying, here, instead of giving me the money that you owe me that we talked about, just here's the part, take it to somewhere and get it fixed. So she said okay. She stopped by our shop, and we did underquote her a little bit. There was one factor that we couldn't see without getting underneath the vehicle. So we quoted her, and she came to get it done. Well, we ran into two issues. One was the price we gave her versus the price it would really be were very different. And he was not willing to help her out at all. And secondly,
the pot he got for her
was
the wrong pot. It does not fit her car. And for the right pot, it's like $400 more.
More than that, yeah.
Than what that pot is. And he was not willing to take reimburse on that old pot. He said, hey, I gave you the pot. It's wrong. That's your problem.
Yeah.
Pretty much. He wouldn't help her by giving her, taking the pot back in her the right pot or nothing like that.
Right. Or at least, giving her, letting her keep that part and reimbursing her for the rest of the part.
Yeah.
It's almost like his mentality is, I tried to help you.
Yeah, I got my money. You got the car. I don't care no more.
But it's almost like I tried to help you, but my first lazy attempt didn't work, so I'm done.
Yeah. So, and that's just one pastor. I have horror stories with so many other pastors that I've seen.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is should be a pastor be held to a higher standard? In my book, yes, you should be. You are the leader of a church. You are what everybody looks up to. You are the inspiration of the church. You are teaching the Holy Bible. You're teaching about Christ. We're human. Don't get me wrong. As a pastor, I don't expect a pastor to be a perfect saint. Pastors make mistakes. And a pastor has a past. He's human. When he's a teenager, he may have been a freaking drug addict, or he's drunk, or who knows, whatever.
Yeah.
Might have been one of those, what do you call it? Lived off of lust, or whatever, and always going to strip clubs and hookers, and it doesn't matter what their past is. But the time they took the oath to be a pastor is the time that they need to start living more righteous.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you still ain't going to sin, because you are going to sin, but to the point of what should be done is your everyday life, it should be living more on a Christ type life. You should be living not for the dollar and chasing the dollar. You should be chasing the Lord. And I see so many pastors on Sunday, and when they're in the church, they're all holy and they talk all holy and they look down on the sinners. And yet in their real life, they're opposite. I know one pastor, in fact, in his congregation, he's very strict on who can come in and who can do this, and he really looks down on sinners and divorce and all that, but yet he himself, I got wind and found out that he actually, at the church, has male hookers comes to have sex with him in the church at night.
Yeah, that's not a
male prostitutes. So not only is he violating the oath of gayness, he is also violating the oath of lust.
Yeah.
And third of all, he's doing it in the house of God. That right there is, I don't know.
That's a big one.
I can't see that being a forgivable sin.
That's a big one.
When I found that out, I'm speechless about it. So basically, I like pastors. Like I've had pastors in the past that got up on stage, and a few of them, and you know who we're talking about.
Yep.
And they get up there and they say, "Yeah, I'm not perfect. This is what I've done in the past. I was a drunk in the past, or I was this in the past, or I was that in the past." And you know what? I fell out of the thing of God. I hated God for a while in the past, and then I came back to God. And
yeah. Well, I mean,
they tell about their past, but now, if you look at their lives, on the most part, 90% of their lives, they live a very holy life.
I think those are the best pastors, though, because one of the things with being a pastor is you have to be able to reach the people at their lowest points.
Yes.
Like, you know, nothing against any type of pastor or anything like that, but I believe the better pastors are the ones who were not raised in church, the ones who decided to find it for themselves, the ones who were drug dealers, drug addicts, God. You know, whatever. Maybe they were prostitutes or, you know, who knows what they are. I believe those are the ones that are the best preachers, because when they do tell their testimony, when they do tell their story from the past, you have the people in the audience who are like, whoa, I used to be like that. Or that's me right now. And, you know, he's on stage speaking about God, and he, you know, he's connected with God, and he's okay. He's living life. He's doing good. Maybe I can too.
He straightened himself. He found God. God helped him.
Exactly. And the people in the audience, and, you know, maybe I'm not saying everyone who goes to church is addicted to drugs or, you know, is gay or whatever the case may be. But I 100% believe that those are the people in the audience and in the church pews that really need to be spoke to more.
Yes. And that's 100%. But the thing is, you can't be a fake pastor.
Yeah. You
can't be a pastor on Sunday, talk about the Bible on Sunday and talk about Christ on Sunday, and yet live the rest of your week in sin or against the Bible or chasing the dollar. Because one thing that God does say is greed is a huge no-no when it comes to the Bible and following Christ and getting to the Lord. Greed is, well, I'll say it again. Jesus says it is easier to thread a camel through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich person to make it to heaven.
What do you think, Simba?
You got to think about greed is a big thing. And in your everyday life, as a pastor, you can't think of greed when you're away from the church.
Yeah.
It's all got to work together. And if you're a pastor, you need to live in that upper standard. We're all sinners, but there's certain sins that as a pastor you need to outlive. You don't need the luxury cars as a pastor. You don't need to live the luxury life. You've got to live more of the Jesus life where you take what you got and you be happy with it because you're living for the spread of the word of God. Even
if it's a beat up 2005 Taurus.
Yep. Where do you get that?
I just out the top of my
head. I figured there's a story behind that.
No.
You kind of disappointed me for a minute there.
I can make one up for you if you want. So but you said something about driving the fancy, latest luxury cars, and I was just like, what's the opposite of that? For whatever reason.
One of the reasons why I went with that phrase is because this wasn't even a pastor, this was a priest in a Catholic church. And we all know how priests are, they can't get married.
Yeah.
They get a paycheck, but they live in the church.
Yeah.
And so they don't really need much of anything. Everything's paid for by the church for them. And there was one priest back when I grown up in one of the churches in my hometown. And he actually, I guess, wound up getting in big trouble because he laundered money from the church and all that. He bought himself a Corvette. And he's flying around town in a Corvette all the time. And everybody's like,
Is Corvette considered luxury?
Yeah. Especially back in the day. But it's a high dollar sports car.
Well, I thought it was just a sports car.
Well, it's a sports car, but it's high dollar. But and here he is working around town with this thing.
Yeah, right.
And everybody's
Especially
like,
a little town where we're from.
He's a priest. How the hell can you afford that?
God graced him.
Well, yeah.
He woke up one morning and outside his window there was
like,
sitting a brand new Corvette with a red ribbon on it.
More like the handout basket graced him pretty very well.
Had a little tag on it that said, "From God to Priest Jones."
And here's the thing is, yeah, you're human. You like stuff and this, that, and the other. But when you take the oath of a pastor. Now, nobody has to take the oath of a pastor or a priest. You don't have to take that oath.
Yeah.
You can live as a deacon, and you're not living to the highest standard. You can also become a minister. Minister is cheap to become a minister. It's very easy to become a minister.
Yeah.
But as a minister, you don't have your own church, usually. Some of them do. And you are basically an assistant to pastors or whatever. So you not really held to the highest of standards.
Right.
So there's a big difference. But when you take on as far as a priest or a pastor, you now sign an agreement with God of, I am going to live a life as close to Jesus as possible.
Yeah.
You're not just the person out there saying, hey, I'm going to do my best to follow the Bible. You're now taking an oath.
Yeah.
To do.
Saying, I am going to live the Bible. I am going to teach it. I'm going to eat it, breathe it, sleep it.
Yeah. So you got to give up some of your luxuries. So I'm going to do Hebrew 13:17. Have confidence in your leaders and submit to their authority, because they keep watch over you as those who must give an account. Do this so that their work will be a joy, not a burden, for that would be of no benefit to you. That is the oath that a pastor takes. And as you are supposed to help them, but they need to prove to you that there's somebody who can lead you to where you need to go.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I feel that a pastor that's going to be going to hell because he's not living to the Bible, but he's teaching the Bible, he's not the best role model for me to learn on how to get to heaven.
No. You think when you get to heaven, God has a questionnaire for you to fill out and be like, who was your pastor? And, what kind of car you drive? Just go down the list. What's your starting salary before tax?
I doubt it.
And just go through, and that's how he makes his decision. Be like, ah.
Well, it was funny because back before he's really into the church and following the church and really into, I always spiritual, but before he's really into Christianity, being a Christian, we had this car salesman in town. And please, people, don't spread this around because you know who I'm talking to about. We used to call him Honest Ted. Everybody called him Honest Ted. He's the most crooked car salesman you ever met. He was
like Carly from the Three Stooges.
Oh, this guy was bad. He would sell you the biggest lemon for the top dollar, but he could sell a freaking ice cube to Eskimo. He could sell. I'll give him that. The guy could sell. But he sold garbage, nothing but garbage, and he'd talk you into paying top dollar. You remortgage your house to buy a car from him, and the thing would break down and be nothing within 4 or 5 days later. Then I found out he's a pastor.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm like, I knew the guy very well, and I'm like, Ted, how can you be Honest Ted, the most crookedest salesman alive, and yet be a pastor? And he tried to tell me, oh, well, being a pastor is my godly life. And that's how it normally is, and that's how I am in life. But when I gotta make money, I gotta make money. That's my money. And I'm like, no. And me and him got into long arguments about it. But, no, that's not how it works.
No.
You cannot shut the Bible off when you feel like, well, you know what?
I don't
What
feel
I
like,
do here, that's
yeah.
God, you're not gonna mind that. 'Cause I'm just doing a hustle to make money. God's watching only my godly stuff. I'm making up for it. No, it don't work like that. Being a pastor is a 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week job. You are always a pastor. Being a Christian is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job. You got to be good all the time, even as a Christian. But as a pastor, you need to step up to level 2.
Yeah.
You got to run at the level 2. You got to stay up around with the as close as you can to the Bible and as least amount of sins as possible.
Yeah. Well, think of it like a workplace. Like, in a corporate job, you have the CEO. We'll make that God, right? And you have people under him, and people that work at corporate, like the angels.
Yeah.
And then you got your pastors and whatnot, and you're the managers, the district managers, and all that. And then you got the people you teach, who are just everyday workers. If an everyday worker messes up, who gets yelled at?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the worker's going to get yelled at too.
Yeah.
But who gets yelled at more?
Yeah, he's boss.
The upper level.
Yep.
And just like I genuinely believe when you go to heaven, you actually sit down and talk with God, and you go through everything you've done in your life.
Yeah.
Every good thing, every bad thing. And I think for pastors, and even maybe for normal people who have a big impact on people.
On the Bible, yeah.
I
agree with that.
I think he'll sit down and
I think he's gonna be more harsh on his judgment.
I think that, but I think he's also gonna bring into account things that other people did because of you.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say I'm a pastor and I have this big church, and there's this fresh 18-year-old person named Bobby Joe, and she goes and commits adultery because the way I phrased one thing made it seem like it was okay.
Or you gotta think about it like this. And this is human nature. You got somebody who's like a borderline Christian. And they believe in God and all this. So they go to church and all this. They try and live the holy life. But then they meet the pastor outside of church and see him outside of church and find out that, like, say he's a used car salesman and he just screwed somebody over big time just to make a quick buck. That person is now going to be like, oh, well, my pastor's doing it. My pastor's going to be going to heaven, so it's got to be okay to do it. So you're gonna follow. As a pastor, you're now the role model of the church.
But
and of the people.
And the thing with a pastor is, like, a lot of pastors are big on repenting. And so a lot of, like, one thing you could think, if you don't fully understand the Bible, because you don't have to 100% understand the Bible to get your pastor degree.
No.
It's just like the ASC certifications in mechanics. You could get every ASC Master Tech without even touching a car.
Yep. It's
all about taking tests.
Yeah.
It's all about knowledge. As far as what pertains to in the test. And some pastors, I believe there's certain pastors out there that just keep doing wrong and wrong and wrong, and they repent every time. But like we've said, and like I've heard from multiple pastors on multiple occasions,
can only repent so much on certain things.
Exactly. It's just like let's say you go and you walk into a kitchen, and all the cooks are running around acting crazy, and you just take a plate of food that's ready for table 4, and you throw it on the ground. And you look at them and go, oh, I'm sorry. They scramble it up, make it again, and knock it over again. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And then you keep going again. And just over and over. At some point, they're going to start throwing knives at you.
They're going to beat you. They're going to beat you hard.
Exactly. And that's the same thing with repentance. It's okay to do it once and genuinely be apologetic for it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Maybe twice.
Yeah. And
maybe 3 times.
But everyone
but
makes
eventually
mistakes.
God's going to be like, you know what? You've already done that 200-300 times and you repented 300. I'm not taking your apology no more.
But it's like certain things I believe, like murder. I don't believe that repenting multiple times will get you saved. I don't know about one time. Personally, I don't believe in murder.
I think it might be case by case.
I agree. I think
I think there's a lot of that will be case by case because it's going to depend on what you do. Like, if you, like, how humans consider murder could be, it's a little bit different than the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, perfect example, somebody goes and tries to attack you and you shoot them. If they don't have a weapon, depending on what state you're in, you're going to go to jail for manslaughter.
Yeah.
Even though you're defending your own life or yourself.
well, no,
In God's eyes, he may have said, hey, no, you're defending yourself. You're good.
Yeah, you're good. I agree with that. But like something like I know there's people who are addicted to pornography and masturbation and stuff like that. At that point, it's an addiction.
Yeah.
So I believe like you can repent after every time you do it, as long as you try to get better. I think that's the biggest thing with God and repenting. You have to. It's just like one thing we learned in basic. If you fail a PT test, it's okay, but your drill sergeants are gonna hound you every day, and they're gonna make you take a PT test a month or a week, one every week, to make sure you're improving.
Yeah.
To make sure you're getting better. And I strongly believe it's the same way with God. If you fail at one thing, or if you mess up and you do something, and even if you knew you shouldn't have done it, you can repent. And as long as you continue to get better with what you're doing, as long as you start to, let's say you're addicted to masturbation. If you stop doing it from 5 times a day to next month you only do it 3 times a day, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's a very, the thing about God I've noticed is it's always about bettering yourself.
Yeah.
It's about bettering yourself and bettering the people around you. So I think as long as you stay on that steady path of believing in God and continuing to get better and continuing to help other people get better,
yeah,
you're good.
No, you're probably right.
And the thing with pastors, though, and like what we're bringing up, it's sad when someone who is not a pastor has to help a pastor get better. Now, not saying that pastors aren't human and can't fall off and do things, which I completely agree with. I think every human has their weak moments.
Yeah.
And I believe that, pastors are human. They make mistakes. They go through life just like we do. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They are the same as us. But as a pastor and as a figure who is held to a higher standard,
you're a role model. You are a leader.
You should have better judgment.
Yes. And you got to remember, because pastors obviously have everyday jobs too, most of them.
Yeah.
Because they don't get paid much by the church. So they have to have a regular everyday job. And there's no problem with trying to make money to support your family and better your life. But there's a problem when you have to take advantage of people about it.
Yeah.
To get ahead. Or to be crooked or greedy. Greed is a big no-no in the Bible. So, as a pastor, you got to really lose greed. And greed is an easy one to
fall under.
Kind of say, hey, you know what? I don't need that. So, yeah, we can help you out a little bit.
I agree.
Greed is probably one of the easiest sins to overcome and to not be.
Yeah.
To me, I think greed is not really anything that could be an addiction or anything like that.
No.
It's something that
greed is
just what you want over anything else.
Greed is just simply greed.
Like lust can be addiction or whatever. There's many different things in lust. Lying, there's a lot of mental things that can cause you to lie.
Yeah. In a lot of different situations.
Or a lot of fears. A lot of people lie because you're fair.
Yeah.
Different sins is a little harder to overcome for some people. But greed is one that you really can't. There's nothing that says, there's nothing in life where people are greedy because they can't control themselves. There is control over greed. It's an easy control.
Yeah.
Greed is how you want to be. It's because you want the nicest stuff, or you want this, or you want that. It's all about wants. It's not something that, I didn't mean to screw that person over. No, you actually did.
Yeah.
There wasn't nobody in the world ever screwed somebody over and said, yeah, I didn't mean to do that. I just screwed you for that car.
Yeah.
There is times when you accidentally screw people over, 100%. There's accidents. There's times when you could have sold a car and you didn't realize something was bad and it went bad.
But you can fix it.
There's always ways to fix it and make it better.
Yeah.
And make right by it. Especially like a car dealership. There's ways to make right by it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the case that we have, he's not looking to make right. And there's been a lot of other cases that we've seen that he did dirty. So it's not just one. But anyways, as a pastor, I'm telling you, the people out there, the two of you's watching, when you're trying to find your church and find your pastor and all that, don't judge them just for what they do on stage. Because there's people and pastors on stage that I've seen that, oh my God, they're amazing. They can speak, they motivate you, you're like, oh, yeah. But then you look at their real life, their everyday, their out of church life. And it's like, really? You're telling me this on Sunday, but yet you're doing this on Monday.
Yeah.
Look behind the scenes of your church and your pastor. Don't fall for just what you see on stage, because your pastor, like it or not, he is your role model. I don't like to say I have any role models. Pretty much, I like to say I go my own path, my own ways. But in fact, like, pastors influence us.
Yeah.
And I have pastors I do look up to that influence me because of the way they do. And if I see them doing something dirty on the side, I can honestly say it would devastate me. These certain pastors.
Oh,
yeah, I'd be like, what? No, wait, Sunday you taught, wait a minute, brain recalculate, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It could actually make somebody lose faith.
Oh, definitely.
Because if you have faith in the pastor who tells you to do this on Sunday, beats it into you, and on Monday you see him do the totally opposite, a lot of people, that can make you lose faith in the Bible. That actually does more damage against God than it does help.
Yep.
Because now you basically just blew somebody's mind, and they're like, well, this pastor says he's going to heaven, this pastor's good, and he knows the Bible, yet on Monday, he got like 5 hookers in his hotel room. And it's like, wait a minute, what do I do? Recalculate.
I think the biggest thing is you see someone who speaks so highly of God, and you hear them on Sunday to, let's say, use the prostitute example. Hear them and you know he's married, and on Sunday he does a whole sermon about family and adultery and X, Y, and Z, and then you work at a hotel and him and some bimbo come in one day, and you're just sitting there and you're like, yesterday you said this. Yeah. So if you don't believe what you're saying, why should I?
Exactly. Or it could also give the mentality to a lot of people of, so it's okay to be holy on Sunday and a Satan the rest of the week, but I'm still going to go to hell. Heaven, which is not the truth. Just because you're a saint on Sunday, that is not going to put you in heaven. Yeah. You're going to be trying to be as much of a saint every single day of the week. Being a follower of the Bible and a follower of Christ and follower of God is not a Sunday job. It's a 7-day, 24 hours a day week job. There's a lot I could talk for hours about pastors and things I've seen with pastors, good pastors, bad pastors. Yeah. There's a lot of good pastors out there.
I think if you're willing and if you guys want to see it, we could do definitely either a continuation of this or just like a second part in the series of this. Yep.
I will just say this. There is a lot of good pastors out there. Yes. Good pastors. Yes. Who are truly 100% their heart is into the Bible. Their lives are close to the Bible as you can possibly get without being Jesus Christ himself. And they are the ones to follow. look at your pastors. Look at the background of the pastor. Look at your church. When you go to your church, don't just look at the front awning of your church. Don't just look at your worship room. Look at the behind the scenes of the church.
Yeah.
Pay attention to where your church is going. Is your church going in a way to make your life better to Christ, or is it looking more to how much money it can make off you to build?
Yeah.
Or expand, or whatever. But what are they using that money to expand for? What are they going with this? Look at the whole picture before you pick a church and pick a pastor.
Definitely.
But also, I really strongly say, too, if you see any pastors falling off the leading path, tell them.
Yeah, say something.
Make them aware of it. Say, hey, look, I know you're a pastor. I seen what you did to that guy over there with that car sale or whatever. That wasn't very Christian-like.
But you don't even have to be mean about it.
No. Just have to tell them, hey, that ain't very Christian-like, and Jesus would not approve of that. You might want to rethink your...
I wouldn't even do that. I would just look at him and say, hey, remember when you sold this guy this car, or X, Y, and Z, remember when this happened? And just be like, what do you think God thinks of that?
Yeah.
Don't say any other word aside from remember this situation.
Or
what would God
best
think?
bet I'd say is, how do you think Jesus would react to that?
Yeah.
Because Jesus is known to turn tables. So with that, what's your comment?
My comment section is, I want to know what, obviously, you can't put yourself in this exact situation, but how do you think you would react if you found out your pastor was really not who they say they are on Sunday?
That's good. I like that. I really like that. I am going to do a kind of two-part. One, I want you to tell me a story that you've seen about pastors that you've seen or had or know of that live a good pastor on Sunday but dirty during the rest of the week.
Yeah.
But part two of that is I want to know about good pastors, and I want to know them by name because you'll shout them out.
Definitely.
That are good pastors by day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Tell me your good pastors in your town, in your church. Tell me the church. Tell me the pastor's name. We will give them a shout out.
Definitely.
So other people can know where to go to find a good pastor.
That's something I was thinking of. You got a good pastor.
Shout them out.
Shout them out. Send it in our inbox. Comment it on a video. Do whatever you want to do. We'll shout him out, and
let's give him recognition, and let's get him more followers.
Yeah, definitely. We'll shout him out, and maybe we'll have him as a guest on the podcast.
That's it.
We'll definitely, because one thing I've noticed these recent weeks, years, months, whatever time frame, is a lot more pastors than you think are crooked.
Yes. It's hard times right now. We all need the motivation. We all need the right place to go.
Yeah.
With that saying, have a great week and faith over fear. I got it right.